Welcome back to another episode of HealthCap Weekly Wrap.
This week, we're closing out 2025 by taking a look at the resources that really struck a chord with senior living professionals over the past year. From hydration and wound care to emergency planning and elopement prevention. Let's talk about what mattered most and how these themes shaped the way we care for residents today.
Can you believe it's already the end of the year?
Yeah, it really flew by. And this was our first full year doing the podcast.
Feels like we just started. But instead of looking back at ourselves, we thought it'd be helpful to look at what really mattered to the people working in senior living this year.
Not just the podcast, the actual tools and resources people kept coming back to, the stuff that really resonated.
So we pulled the top 10 documents and webinars from HealthCap's Resource and Education Center. That's at riskmanagement.healthcapusa.com. And quick heads up, they're all still available and still free.
What stood out was how connected all these resources are. When we grouped them by topic, it really showed where the focus was in 2025. Hydration, wound care, infection control, elopement, emergency planning.
So instead of running through a list, we're going to talk about the themes. What these resources say about the challenges people were facing and what they prioritized this year.
Let's start with hydration.
Two of the most accessed resources were the Hydration Toolkit and an infographic called Dehydration in the Elderly.
No surprise there. Hydration's always been important, but this year people were really focused on how to build it into everyday care.
The toolkit was full of practical strategies. Hydration rounds, working fluids into activities, adjusting care plans based on risk. It was the kind of thing you could print out and start using right away.
And the infographic? It was quick and visual. Perfect to hang up in a break room or glance at during a shift. It highlighted early signs of dehydration, which can be easy to miss in older adults.
That focus on hydration also showed up in the Wound Care webinar series. Module 6 was all about wound healing, nutrition, and hydration.
It made the connection really clear. Healing isn't just about the dressing. It's also about what residents are drinking and eating.
That Wound Care series was huge this year. 6 parts made the top downloads list.
It started with a wide-angle view and then walked through pressure injury risk, wound assessment, staging, treatment, and how nutrition and hydration support healing.
There was a strong message throughout. Wound care is not just the treatment nurse's responsibility. It takes a team. Dietary, rehab, nursing, activities, everyone.
That team approach really hit home.
Another big topic this year was infection control. 2 resources stood out: the Legionella Toolkit and the Legionnaire's Disease Recognition Guide.
That tells us communities are thinking beyond flu season. They're looking at system-wide risks, especially in older buildings.
The toolkit helped people create a water management program aligned with CDC guidance. And it was written in a way that made sense, even for non-clinical staff.
The recognition guide focused more on awareness, what to watch for, how the disease spreads, why older water systems are a concern.
Together, those two gave people both the why and the how.
Emergency preparedness was also a major theme this year. The Emergency Preparedness Manual continued to be a go-to resource.
It's detailed and customizable. It walks you through planning for weather events, power outages, evacuations, even pandemics.
But this year, there was more focus on execution, not just planning.
2 other resources helped with that. One covered emergency preparedness challenges unique to senior living. The other focused on transportation during emergencies.
That one caught a lot of people off guard. You can have a great evacuation plan, but if you can't actually move your residents, the plan falls apart.
The transportation guide helped communities think through the logistics. Vendor agreements, backup drivers. What happens if staff can't get there?
Elopement prevention was another major area of focus. The Elopement Toolkit was one of the most requested resources.
And it makes sense. Elopement isn't just a physical risk, it's emotional. For families, for staff, most of all, for residents.
The toolkit dug into root causes, how to assess risk, how to understand behaviors, how to create environments that reduce exit seeking.
It found the balance between dignity and protection, and that really resonated with people.
Falls were another big focus. The Falling For You toolkit stayed popular this year.
It includes everything: leadership checklists, real-time post-fall reviews, sample care plans.
But what stood out was the mindset. It encouraged teams to see falls not as isolated incidents, but as patterns, something you can analyze and prevent.
That connected directly to the root cause analysis webinar, one of the most attended sessions this year.
Communities used it for more than just falls. Infection tracking, medication errors, even staffing issues.
It helped shift the culture from blame to learning, from reaction to prevention.
Another big webinar this year was called Can, Should, Must. It looked at regulatory changes from the Office of Inspector General and what they mean in practice.
It helped people sort through what's legally required, what's considered best practice, and what's optional.
That kind of clarity was valuable, especially early in the year when teams were setting priorities and trying to stay ahead of compliance concerns.
Restorative nursing was also a hot topic. That webinar reminded people that restorative care isn't just about mobility. It's about independence, engagement, preserving function.
And it was realistic. Little things. Walking with purpose. Verbal cueing. Gentle range of motion during daily care.
And then there was assisted living. The Risky Business webinar helped those communities look at risk from a new angle. Medication practices, documentation gaps, assumptions about resident independence.
What I appreciated is that it didn't try to turn assisted living into skilled nursing. It showed how to strengthen what matters without losing the identity of the setting.
So when you zoom out and look at the full list, hydration, wound care, infection prevention, emergency planning, resident rights, elopement, regulation, you see a picture of what mattered in 2025.
It wasn't just about compliance, it was about doing better, asking better questions, protecting residents in every way we can.
And just a reminder, every single resource we talked about today is still available. You can download the toolkits or watch the webinars at riskmanagement.healthcapusa.com.
To see the full list of our top 10 downloads and top 10 webinars, check out Angie's blog at healthcapusa.com/Angie's-blog.
This has been a year of growth, reflection, and resilience. If you listened to a podcast, downloaded a resource, or shared something with your team, we're so glad you were here.
And we'll be back in 2026 with more stories, more tools, and more ways to support the people doing the work.
Take care.